Hey guys, it's Pastor CJ here, and I'm so excited to be bringing you part 2 of our Easter Chapel series. We're so excited because here at Highest Praise at SCA, we're celebrating Passion Week. And for those of you who may not know what Passion Week is, it was all of the events for an entire week that led up to Easter. I'd like to ask you, what would you do if you knew you only had 1 week left to live? Most of us would do things like check things off of our bucket list, maybe go skydiving, eat 1,000 chicken nuggets from Chick-fil-A. Who knows what you might do? But Jesus knew he had 1 week left to live, and we want to take some time and show you exactly what Jesus chose to do with his very last week. It's very, very important. Pastor Ryan kicked us off with this very, very, very important question, and in my opinion, it's one of the most important questions you could ever be asked. It's, who is Jesus to you? Who is the Messiah to you? Remember, guys, that Easter is personal. It can't just be for someone else. You have to realize that Jesus came for you. So who is he to you? Make sure you're asking yourself that. And I know that as our teachers and our students, as we get closer to Easter, we begin to think about things like this, and I'm just so excited. I pick up the story on Wednesday. Wednesday is called Spy Wednesday. And no, it's not that kind of spy like on Spy Kids where you have the glasses and the watch and all that. It's a different kind of spy, and it's kind of sad because one of Jesus' best friends in the whole world, his name was Judas, decided that he was going to sell Jesus for some money so that he would be crucified. Now, I know a lot of you have probably been hurt by a friend. Maybe they told something that they promised they wouldn't tell. Maybe they said something about you behind your back, or maybe they really did hurt you in a different kind of way. None of us have experienced betrayal the way Jesus experienced betrayal. And I think one of the most important things we can learn from Spy Wednesday is that even though people may do us wrong, they may hurt us, we may not agree with them, we have to love them. We have to find the strength and the courage in God so that we can do what's right and forgive them and love them. As we move on from Wednesday into Thursday, a lot of times Thursday is called Maundy Thursday. And all Maundy means, it teaches us about communion. Maybe you've gone to church before and the preacher's handed you some bread and like some little juice, and they tell you to eat the bread really slowly, and you're like, why am I eating this? It's not gonna fill me up, especially if you're big like Pastor CJ. And they give you this little tiny little juice, and you're trying to figure out what all this is about. They are actually remembering what happened on Thursday of Passion Week. Jesus knows he's getting ready for his very last meal of his entire life. Now, I don't know about you, but my last meal probably gonna be Chick-fil-A. If it was me, I'm trying to get like a 30-piece nuggets or something like that. I ain't trying to do no bread, but it's all Jesus, whatever he's got to do. And there's actually something really powerful in the bread and in the juice if we kind of look closer. Because Jesus hands the bread, he breaks the bread into little pieces and gives it to all of his friends around the table. And he says that he is going to be crucified, and that the same way he broke this body, this bread, his body is going to be broken so that we could be healed. The biggest thing we have to remember is Jesus on the cross was the ticket for our healing from everything, whether it's something like anxiety, something simple like a headache, or something huge like the coronavirus. All of these things were purchased the same way that Jesus broke the bread when his body was broken on the cross. Then after they take the bread, he passes out the juice to all of his friends. And he says that take this juice in remembrance of my blood that is being shed for the remission of sins. We all know that sometimes we do things wrong and it doesn't feel good. If we told a lie, or we had a bad attitude, or we didn't do something our parents asked us to, it makes us feel guilty because that's sin. Anytime you do something that you know to be wrong is sin. But Jesus' blood, the same way that he passed out the juice, was completely strong enough to wipe away all of the guilt and all of the shame for every one of our sins. And Thursday is such a big deal because he's giving his friends insight into what he's about to do. And it's completely awesome. Jesus gets up from the table and then he goes into the garden to pray. And this is where his friend Judas decided that he was going to come give Jesus up for money. And it's very sad. They drag Jesus before Pilate on Friday. You know, they drag him before this judge, and he's on trial, but for nothing. He does not deserve to be in jail. He does not deserve to be locked up. And as he gets there, Pilate says that I find no fault with this man. I don't know. All he's done is heal people. All he's done is walk on water. He raised people from the dead. He healed deaf ears. He did all of these things that were good. He's here. Why are you condemning him? And it was the people who did not like when Jesus cleansed that temple on Monday. Those people, those Pharisees, those religious leaders, they did not like the message that Jesus came with. And so Pilate, the judge, he says, okay, here's what we're going to do. I have this very guilty prisoner who's actually killed people, and I have Jesus who's done nothing wrong. Who do you want to live? And he lets the people decide. And we know that they chose Jesus to die. Now, the biggest thing to remember is that Jesus already knew all of this was going to happen. And the biggest question that I have for you is this. He did it for you. What are you going to do about it? He chose to endure the cross. He endured the beating. His body was broken like a piece of bread. His blood was poured out like when you spill grape juice. He did all of that for you so that you can know him and have a relationship with God. That's the best news that we have. That's why we get so excited. That's why Good Friday, even though it was so bad, it was such a dark day, it was so good because he did all of this on purpose for you so that you can know God. What people may not realize is that because of sin, God was trapped in a box that he designed. He separated himself from all people with this giant curtain that was like even bigger than the sanctuary. It was a huge curtain. And when Jesus died and his blood hit the ground, boom, immediately that entire curtain was torn in half. And now people, me, you, your teachers, your family, we get to have a relationship with the presence of God. And it's such a big deal. That's why we love Good Friday. Even though it's a very dark and kind of heavy day, we know that he did that for us, for our good. So I'll ask you the question one more time. If you know that Jesus died for you specifically, what are you going to do about it?